Hmm. Hello, everyone. Today's experiment is to record a video in my car. Um, so, whatever the fuck happens, happens here. So, I have had quite a fucking wild ride today. I am currently integrating like a shitload of fucking shit right now. One of the biggest lessons I am learning is the joy of taking things slow. Like, how many fucking things do you have to eat at once? Why do you have to, like, if you are trying to eat a balanced diet, does that really mean you have to eat every part of the diet all at once? Like, no, you can take your time eating one at a time, savoring it, digesting it, then taking the next thing all. Um, yeah, whatever. That analogy is fucking boring for me now. Basically, um, yeah, today I felt really weird. I learned a lot, and I ended up talking to a bunch of people, and it was really enjoyable. I think the number one thing that helps me to integrate things is connection with people. Just being on the phone with people and being with my present experience and them being with theirs. Just being in a clear, transparent connection with them seems to be the thing that really helps things move along nicely. I will say that, oh yeah, another thing that I'm finding really enjoyable is the idea of just letting things happen, letting things come out of my mouth before I think about them, and just trusting that I can think, that I can do, that things can happen, and there's a coherence to the way that I speak that doesn't need to be managed. And I wonder how much that can extend to other parts of my life. I mean, because that is truly what seems to be the natural wisdom of many wisdom traditions is that you don't need to rush things, that you can let things unfold, that it's about surrendering, that it's about opening yourself up and allowing things to unfold. And that runs so counter to the culture that, at least in the United States, we're raised in, where it's all about management. You have to get up, you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's a dog eat dog world, and you got to measure yourself up by how much money you make, how productive you are, if you work, and you can't be fucking lazy or fucking anything, as if that even exists, which I don't think laziness actually exists. I know, libtard cuck idea, but really, just think about it. Does laziness really exist? What is laziness? Like, have you ever been lazy before? Like, what was happening when you were lazy? Like, seriously, take a look. What was it? And you were going to find that you weren't wanting to just sit there, being quote unquote lazy. Like, you were sitting there for a reason. You had to rest, you had to recover, or you had to process an emotion that you didn't know how to process. And so it turned into resistance. And when you're resisting the fuck out of emotion, you're spending a ton of energy that makes you not want to do anything else. Um, so, fuck it. Laziness doesn't exist. I think that's an important concept. And so what is it that we call laziness? It's inaction. Um, and laziness is really a judgmental term. It's like, okay, how is that productive? How is it productive to call yourself lazy? What's the benefit in that? When really you look at your system and you think, like, when you're calling yourself lazy, why would you do that if you were actually a lazy person? Like, why would you call yourself a piece of shit if you actually were a piece of shit? Because it sounds like you actually do care. It seems like you're not actually lazy. If you're calling yourself lazy, you have an agenda to make yourself do stuff. That sounds like a motivated person. So stop trying to fucking sit there and shame yourself into getting shit done and actually get curious about it. You're not lazy. It's not natural to, like, that's just not the way we're wired. We're not lazy. We're always doing something for a reason. Like, why would we evolve to waste resources? That's, if we evolved that way, we wouldn't exist. There's no selection pressure for being lazy. So you have to do a root cause analysis. What is making me lazy? Okay. Well, just take a look. What's the root cause? For me, often when I'm quote unquote lazy, it's because I have some kind of emotional experience that I don't know how to process. And so I have to sit there and process it. But if I don't know what I'm doing, then I, rather than completely being overloaded, I will go and do a distracting activity. I will watch a YouTube video. I will distract myself with food, all these things. And you just look at like all these bad, quote unquote, bad habits you have. Like I binge watch YouTube videos all day. Um, what are you doing that for? Like, think about the root cause analysis of it. You don't feel good when you're doing it. So clearly there's nothing intrinsically that you want to be doing. So it's a duct taped over patch over the deeper issue. Now, what is that deeper problem? It could be like you don't want to feel grief, and so you hop on a YouTube video because you get distracted, and when you're in your head, you're distracted, you're focused on something else, then you're not feeling the grief. So what do you do in that situation? Do you shame the person who's watching a YouTube video? Like, when you really break it down, take off the label of lazy. This is why it's important to do this. To take off the label of lazy, you get to look at the actual mechanics of what's happening. So you go from this person's lazy to, oh, they're watching a YouTube video to distract themselves from feeling sad. Okay, that's a very different diagnosis, and it's actionable. It's like, yeah, okay, you don't want to feel your sadness. That's much more actionable. It doesn't completely solve the problem, but it gives you a route to actually go and make things better versus adding more and more aggression to their system. If you tell someone they're lazy, that's a form of aggression. And if they're lazy, they're already avoiding an emotion. They're already avoiding something. And now you're just giving them a whole other fucking thing to avoid. It's just not going to fucking work in the long run. And if you look at yourself, you'll realize it doesn't work for yourself either. So take off that aggression and get curious. Like, and you don't just get sad for no reason. Like, there's always some kind of root cause. And once you analyze it, you go in, you understand it, you give it clear curiosity, then the solution unfolds. The solution unfolds. And then rather than addressing the top level problem, which is, watching the YouTube video, binging a YouTube video is a symptom of a deeper problem. And it's almost a fucking cliche. It's a shtick at this point to say like, oh yeah, the U.S. healthcare system is bad because we put a band-aid over the problem. Well, we do it all the time with ourselves. You just don't realize that the things you do in your life that you don't like, they're symptoms of a deeper issue. And calling yourself lazy, calling yourself a piece of shit just gets in the way of actually finding the solution to the deeper issue. It's a symptom of something. It's a symptom. So, when you really stop and take a look at somebody who's going through something, and they have all these habits popping up, and you call them fucking lazy and tell them to get their shit together, you're not actually helping them in the long run. You're just adding more aggression. And that's going to give them another thing to fucking try to solve. Because binging YouTube is a solution to a problem. Now, like, how do you actually solve the deeper problem? Like, what do you do? What do you do? What's actionable here? Well, you go in, you take a look, you like feel into the problem, because that's where it lies, is typically a feeling, or you have a belief pattern, and you just look at it. You rotate your perspective. You get curious about it. Like, okay, what is the thing that happens right before you start binging on YouTube? What is that thing that happens right before it? It's like, okay, well, I think about how the economy is going to crash. And then that triggers an emotion, and that makes me go on YouTube. You have multiple points. Once you're curious about it, that gives you multiple ways to solve the problem. It's like, okay, what about the belief? What is going on here? Like, what makes you think the stock market crashing is a problem for you? You go into it, get curious, like, what actually is the stock market? How does it crashing affect you negatively? And often the problem just disappears when you get curious about it, because you start to realize, like, I don't even know what the stock market is. I don't even know what it means for me. And then, boom, the problem stops right there. Or you keep going and you come up with solutions. You find empowerment for it. It's like, okay, ask yourself questions like, how can I make it so the stock market helps me? How can I make it so the stock market crashing is helpful for me? And it's like, oh, I could take out stock options on it where I bet against the market. So I make money off of it going down. Or you take it as a sign of instability. You look at what's crashing and why, and you find interventions that could find the inefficiencies in the market, find where the money wants to go, and make money off of that. Like, it's really just having curiosity about the whole belief structure can give you tons of solutions. Or you can go into the emotional level. Like, what is the emotion I'm avoiding? Like, go in and feel it, be with it. And then once you're with it, you realize you don't have to avoid it because you're like, you're okay. It's like, oh, this is fine to feel. And often feeling it will give you an intuitive sense of where to put your attention, what kinds of beliefs to analyze, what kinds of things to, what information to take in, how to update yourself. Or it's pointing you to a piece of information you don't want to let in. That once you let it in, you're more adaptive. So I guess to tie it all together, if I try to tie it together, I'll say taking things slowly um, is for me a solution to the problem of rushing through things, which is kind of like doom scrolling in my brain. And, you know, so I can solve the problem by just getting curious about it. And, yeah, well, and now I kind of got lost, but in the middle of the video, it's coherent. So, all right, thank you. Bye.